In today's video, we are going to look into Emergency, submarine and crew trapped on ocean floor. In 1953, a submarine named Dumlupinar entered the Dardanelles Strait, a narrow strait that separates Turkish territory in Asia from the rest of the country on the European side. The sub was considered state-of-the-art at the time and had previously lived as the USS Blower, a Belau-class submarine built and commissioned by the United States Navy. The subclass was known for its thicker, higher-strength steel in the pressure hull and frames, allowing it to descend close to 400 feet regularly. The sub had just completed a training exercise in the Mediterranean Sea with another Turkish submarine and were heading towards the Turkish Navy headquarters on the coast of the Marmara Sea. As they made their way along the surface, the weather that night was giving crews of both subs anxiety. At around 2:10 a.m. on the morning of April 4th, the subs were approaching a portion of the strait near the city of Çanakkale. A Swedish civilian cargo ship called the Nabaland suddenly appeared in view, and it was traveling faster than was safe from both weather conditions and the treacherous part of water. The sub had little time to move, so one of its lead officers ordered it to turn to the right side, believing they could travel between the Nabaland and the eastern shores of the strait. However, this had to be done carefully because there was a real threat of running the sub aground in the shallows of the channel. In complete darkness, the Nabaland slammed into the right side of the sub so hard that the sound was heard by ships anchored in a harbor, almost 4 miles away. 8 crewmen were thrown off the sub, and 2 were tossed directly into the Nabaland and killed instantly. Inside the sub, chaos broke out, with only 22 of 81 sailors sealing themselves in the watertight stern torpedo room. The rest either died in the collision or by drowning as the sub plummeted and filled with water from the channel. The Nabaland submerged in a channel, causing a massive explosion and sinking the ship. The crew rushed to a nearby harbor where a Turkish customs ship was anchored. The boat was lowered into the water to rescue survivors, but only 1 crewman survived. The Turkish customs ship found a frantic scene with flames, men shouting, lifeboats, and life jackets in the water. An emergency communication buoy was released by Petty Officer Salami Ozben, who identified the sub and informed anyone on the surface. The sub was trapped at the bottom of the channel, with 22 men alive and trapped in the stern torpedo room. Submarine rescue is complicated, especially at the depth of the channel. The USS Squalus was stuck 250 feet underwater after some vents didn't close properly during a dive. 33 crewmen returned to the surface using the Submarine Rescue Chamber, SRC. But it was not an easy task. A submarine rescue ship was dispatched, but it took another 12 hours to position itself correctly in the narrow channel. Once the ship was where it needed to be, divers connected the SRC and entered the water, but this would be anything but a routine dive. The 1953 Dumlupinar disaster in the Dardanelles resulted in the deaths of 81 Turkish sailors due to a unique hatch door design and pressure. The crewmen experienced carbon dioxide poisoning, leading to headaches, shortness of breath, fatigue, disorientation, hyperventilation, seizures, and ultimately, death. The rescue ship commander, Salim, announced that no rescue would be possible and the survivors would die in the torpedo room. The tragedy is considered one of the darkest moments in Turkey's history. The USS Blower, commissioned in 1944, was cursed by maritime superstition after colliding with a subchaser ship in October 1944. The Turkish Navy renamed the sub after receiving it from the US in 1950, sealing its fate in the eyes of maritime superstition. Turkish naval history has a history of maritime sins, with the first sub decommissioned in 1949 and the second involved in a crash in the Dardanelles Strait 3 years later. The third sub was repaired and re-entered service, but a fire on board in 1978 led to its complete decommissioning. The 1953 Dumlupinar and its crew remain on the bottom of the Dardanelles Strait today. Thank you for watching this video.